Happy Tuesday. Let's see if I'm actually up yet. All right. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Eight Questions With. It's the start of Artist Week here on Eight Questions With. We are hosting three artists. We are hosting. That's what we're hoping. That's what they have in common this week. It's a theme week. Um, we're kicking it off with Braden Duncan. Tomorrow will be Artfully Blind with Diana. And then on Thursday, it'll be Dizzy and Rico from She Wines. We'll all be here. Mr. Bones, Jennifer Tochi, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this week. No kidding. Really excited about that. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of artists or artist types come out and hopefully support this show. So feel free to share us out. There's my main man Rick, who I've been bombarding his Instagram with tons of Spud pictures. I think he appreciates that. I didn't know Spuds came in a different colors, but Spuds, I thought all Bull Terriers were mostly just all white, but now I'm seeing all these Bull Terriers. There's the Bull Terriers actually sort of look like cats. They have they have a lot of different colors on Spuds. Oh my gosh, living pieces of art. Um, so yeah, Brayton's gonna be here. She has a website called Clockwork Art, which will be showcasing throughout the whole evening. You can go to her website and connect with her. We'll also put her Instagram down there, um, and you can go visit her webpage, and you can buy art from her. She sells a lot of interesting pieces. Um, a lot of them are featured with cats, which is automatically makes them aces in our book. Um, I wonder if she does custom pieces. I'll have to see if she actually will do a cheetah. Um, so I'm pretty excited for this. This is going to be a lot of fun, and like I said, feel free to share us out. I shared us out yesterday and today, but you know how that goes. She'll be here with us in about 10 minutes or so. So in the meantime, you know what time it is. Uh, it was funny. Last night I took a picture of Paladin. It was really cold over here in southeastern Michigan, so I brought out the big blanket, and he instantly went underneath there and curled up on top of me and started sleeping. And I was up at 3 a.m. talking to two different public relations persons, trying to set up two different interviews at 3 a.m. Now that's the grind right there. So the cheetah's perched right here, and I'm doing it with like I'm bending over like this, because I don't want to disturb them. And I'm sitting there texting like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What do we need to do? What date do you need? And this is 3 in the morning. I'm not sure where they're at. Even if they're in Los Angeles, here we are. We're we're talking to each other either at midnight or at 3 a.m. trying to get this done. Um, I know one's going to happen. One's going to happen, but I can't say anything until it's done, until I got it set in stone. And then one I thought was, but then I don't. I think that one's going to slip away for now. For now, but we'll get it back. We'll get it back. Uh, in the meantime, I did book two more guests for December, so I'm happy about that. So we'll see where it goes. Um, so November or October, I mentioned the last 3 weeks, the last three people for October. Of course, we also have the Spooktacular, huge 4 hour Spooktacular show. And in case you missed last Sunday's show for the Spooktacular, you can go to either Hobbs Horror or myself and look it up. It's on our playlist, and we had a sensational time. We had a lot of fun. We had a party last Sunday night on the midnight hour. It was insane. What's going on, Waffles? Yes, Rick. I know you know what I'm talking about, and so does Waffles. Yeah. Hey, Casey, how are you, sir? Um, Yeah, you know what I was talking. You know what I'm talking about. Up at 3 a.m. Burning the midnight oil. Um, but it was fun. It was really is. It really is fun for me. Um, you know, I love it. I love it. It's just so much fun. Um, but besides the three I just mentioned to you, three shows tonight with Braden Duncan. Um, Artfully Blind with Diana will be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and then uh, Dizzy and Rico from She Wines will be here on Thursday, the 28th. But on the 31st, we have a double header. We have at 8 o'clock, we have ISC Midnight Nights are back for our monthly show. We'll be talking about The Wind. Um, that was released on ISC midnight, and we'll be talking about that. That show will be at 8 o'clock, and that will be on the Night Watches Zones channel. I will leave the link in the description box. Um, I'll leave the description probably in another. Well, you guys who know who Night Watch is, so just type up Night Watch. We're going to be there at 8 o'clock um, on Sunday, and then at 9:30, it's a 30-minute start time earlier, 30 minutes earlier. We're going to start the Spectacular 2021. We are going to have the Wheel of Doom up, the Wheel of Fun, and then everybody's going to get 2 entries that entered. It's still not too late to enter. If you have not entered, go to Hobbs Horror. Go to Hobbs Horror, make a video, answer 4 questions, make a video, and drop it on his page, or drop it on your page. Give him a follow, and then let him know that you've done so. The deadline is the 30th. It's the 30th. On Halloween, we will be doing the spectacular drawing. Super, super fun. Yes, you're entered, Michelle. You're definitely entered. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have I think 20. I think we might have a chance to equal last year's total. I think we might actually have 22, 24 people entered. So that's going to be starting at 9:30. That'll be here on my channel. I will be hosting it on for the spectacular. Then in November, we have our first week in November. We have actress Augie Duke will be here. Augie is one of the stars of the movie The Amityville Moon, who we talked to the film's director Thomas J. Churchill last week, but now we're going to talk to one of the stars of the movie this week. Augie Duke will be here at 8 p.m. I'm not really sure how long we're going to get with Augie because she's very pregnant, and so we're gonna go as far as we can go. So I'm not exactly sure how long we got. And then on the 3rd of November, that's November 2nd. November 3rd, we have our friend Jonathan from Plat X2. He is a film collector, film buff here on YouTube, and one of my favorite channels. So I invited him to come up and we'll talk movies. He is an ISC fan, by the way. Oh, thank you, Michelle. I totally get it. Yep, thank you. So he'll be here a week from tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and then Thursday we are doing a double header. That's right. Me and the cheater are heading back over the pond to interview our one of our favorite bloggers and one of our favorite human beings and a member of my tribe, Laura Dove, from the blog Five Little Doves, and that will be a 2 p.m. start. 2 p.m. start on the 4th, and then we come back that night here at 8 o'clock to talk to Jamie Olson from Olson Productions, who's a hard working actress and director, producer. She busts her butt like a few others. And my goal is during this show is to actually get her to smile, because I'm always honored to do that, because she's got one of the best smiles in Hollywood. I'll do one more week because I should. On the 9th of November, we have actress Polly Shannon will be here. Polly is very well-known actress. She has done a lot of great movies, including she worked with Burt Reynolds on his last movie. His very last movie before he passed away was a movie called Defining Moments, and Polly co-starred with Burt Reynolds in that film. So we'll talk to her about what was it like working with Burt Reynolds. She also did a couple of the Jesse Stone movies, uh, and she's done a lot of other shows, including some favorite Canadian shows as well. So she'll be here at 8 p.m. on the 9th. On the 10th, our friend Cedric Gego will be here, and 8 o'clock. And then on the 11th, we had to reschedule our friend Candice Corella, who directed Unicorns, and she is also a costume designer on many, many movies. So we had to reschedule her for the 11th, and the 11th is here, and so we'll be talking to Candice Corella about her career as well. As soon as I'm able to tell you who the other two actors I got, the other two interviews I'm working on, I will definitely tell you. Um, Hopefully it'll happen. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping that will happen soon. All right, so that's the first 2 weeks of November. So there you go. There you go. Um, as you know, it's just like I said, it's going to be Halloween's coming up. Everybody's excited for Halloween. Um, uh, oh, okay. Oh, okay. I also see too. I'm during all that time I'm talking. I see that I glitched up. So let me bounce out of here and come back in. It always happens to the very first time. All right. I don't know why that does it. All right. Uh, no. I would be okay with Atlanta winning the World Series. Yeah. Thank you, Angela. Be careful driving home, though. Okay, so I unfroze myself because that's what always happens. You know that within the first 5 to 10 minutes, it's always going to be a glitch. Always frozen, never fresh, always frozen. So I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on too. Man, I got to guest. I got to be a guest on Doomsday Crypt. I got to be a guest on his interview that he had with Laura Ellen Wilson on Saturday. Man, that was a lot of fun. I thought John from Doomsday. I thought he did an outstanding job. He had to balance a tornado warning, which is actually worse than a tornado watch. A tornado watch means they're watching to see what happens. A tornado warning is they're actually sitting there saying that a tornado could touch down. So he had to balance his work because he takes care of three special needs fellas. He had to balance his work, and he had to balance the tornado warning, and he had to balance a guest whose internet wasn't the strongest. But she was delightful. Laura Wilson was very delightful. She will be coming up here on the midnight on the. Actually, I probably want to if I can. If I can get her on the midnight hour, I will. But that's the thing about interviewing with folks from the UK. We always start so late. It's like 5 in the morning there. So it's one of the reasons why we do most of our guests from Europe. Why we do them here. They just can't do the midnight hour live. But we are working on some new guests for the midnight hour. I do know that November 7th for the show, we will be doing comedy night. We're going to be talking about our favorite comedies because after October, we need a break from horror. We just do. So we will do that. We will talk. We will break away from horror for a week, only a week, and then after that, we are back in it. Because I'm sure, as some of the people already know that Um, as soon as October's over with, um, it's going to be people are going to be starting to talk about Terrifier 2. That's going to be coming out really soon in January. That'll be the next big horror event that I know of. Um, as far as independent horror goes, Terrifier 2 will be coming out in 2022 January. It's what I heard. Um, Everybody's starting to get a real good, starting to hear a lot of good vibes about that. So it'll be very interesting to see. The only thing I've heard that might be a damper on the movie um, is I heard that it's going to be like almost over, I mean, well over 2 hours long. I hope not. I hope that they're doing some editing. Uh, I don't think horror translates very well to a long run. I just don't think so. So we'll see. Uh, I mean, if it comes in if it comes in like an hour, 45 minutes or something like that, that's all right. But if you're coming in over 2 hours, 2.5 hours, like Midsommar, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of people. Um, so yeah. And then we're back with horror. And then on the 20th of November, we're going to be talking about 20th of November, we are talking, A24 films. Uh, yes, it's a bulldog hat. I'm wearing a bulldog hat. This is the University of Georgia Bulldogs. Uh, oh, even as I'm speaking, it looks like our friend Thomas is reaching out and guess what? Our very special guest is here. Ta-da! Okay, there she is.
Here
I love
I
the hat.
am. Good to see everybody, sort of, through the internet.
Yes. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Um, Sorry, we're talking about our calendar. I always break out the trusty calendar. And,
Definitely.
yeah, you know how that goes. It's very important. I mean, do you live by your calendar, Braden?
I kind of do. There's so much going on. If I didn't have it written down somewhere, my head would probably explode. So you
Me
do you.
too.
I
Me too.
appreciate that.
Um, Me too. I need to have that. I need to have a calendar. It started off. I used to book live music, and I used to, and I got to learn how important a calendar was. Um, I mean, everywhere I went, I would see other people using the calendar, and it was just like, holy cow, I need to get one of those. And so I always put it in my drawer, and
Mhm.
always grabbing it. My calendar by the end of the month, I literally would wear out the edge of the paper.
I believe that.
I would literally wear it out. Um,
I don't think there's enough paper in the world. It's
well, I wasn't the only one. That was really cool because I come inside there, I see other different club owners or whatnot, other restaurants, and sure enough,
Hmm.
everybody had that calendar up, and you could always tell how dedicated they were to the calendar because, oh my gosh, you would need to learn a new language to understand everything. It was all the notations on it. You could hide a secret of the atomic bomb into a calendar, and no one would know about it because unless you spoke calendar.
Mm.
Um, So I always give up the calendar when I get up when I come up here and I start doing the show. Always read off the upcoming events, and I was just thinking about this. I was looking at your calendar. I'm going like, you know what? I have a feeling I have a kindred spirit here, um, and the calendar is life.
It is. Well, it helps me plan, it helps other people plan. I think it is a necessary tool for any creative professional.
And the
Mhm.
funny thing is, though, it's like not only do I keep the 8 Questions With program on the
Mm.
calendar, but I also have the midnight hour on Sunday nights that I keep down, and
Oh,
then
nice.
I also have to keep the last Sunday and every month open for the IFC Midnight Nights because
Mhm.
we do a once a month show where we talk about a movie that was released by IFC Films. Are you a big movie fan, or do you have time for movies?
I adore movies. I actually do a lot of movie watching, when I paint. It's nice just to toss something on in the background, it's a good pacing method. Yeah. I don't know, do you have any favorites?
Yeah, I right. Oh God, do I have favorites?
What kind of a question is that?
I have a lot of favorites. Oh wow. Hi Marshall, how are you? Hi She Wins, how are you? Our friend Dizzy's here. Hi, oh gosh, I know her name too, and I feel so stupid not
Oh,
knowing it.
there are the comments. Hi,
Uh,
everybody. Sorry, I had them turned off.
uh, Hi, I know I always say hi. Okay, I'm going to really embarrass myself here, and I deserve it. But
Oh, thanks, Jennifer.
especially since you live so close to me. Hello, real lady electrician. I know her name. I do. I hang out with her and her two friends on Friday nights. They do live streams and they do unboxings or they do mask makeup. I'm there just about every other Friday, and I should know her name, and I don't. I'm totally embarrassed by that. Um, I mean, it's just embarrassing. I'm
I'm
sorry.
kind of the same. I actually remember
She
faces
deserves
a lot
better.
better.
Um,
Mm,
so yeah, so yeah, well, do I have a favorite? Yeah, I have like a couple, like two or three movies I really enjoy. Uh,
mhm,
one is A Dark Song, which is actually my
mm.
thumbnail and my YouTube page there.
Okay.
That's the one, and then I guess some other ones I really enjoy are wow. Well, I just watched. Actually, I just started watching. I really liked it quite a bit.
Hmm.
This old show from the '90s called Sliders.
Oh my gosh, I remember that one where
Yeah,
they're jumping between different realities and they're trying to
yeah,
find their reality and they keep not being able to.
right.
I love that one. I haven't seen it probably in about 20 years.
No,
Mhm.
I got 2 of the 5 seasons, and I got
Mhm.
season 1. I think I have season 3,
Mhm.
which I picked up at a sale somewhere, and then I got left season 1, and
Gotcha.
so I picked it up, and I was like, "Wow, this is so much fun."
Had you
And I
not
went
seen it before?
No,
Oh my
never
gosh.
watched it, never watched it. What really surprised me, what's really surpri oh, and of course, Starship Troopers, like she
Mm,
wants Star Wars. Starship Troopers is also one of my favorites. I could definitely run
mhm.
lines. I can run lines off of Starship Troopers.
Nice.
But yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Would
And
you love to know more?
luckily for me, everybody loves Starship Troopers. There's not a single person
Mhm.
I know that does not like Starship Troopers.
It's a fun one. It's got that right balance between action and camp and sci-fi. Uh, Excellent actors too. I'll watch
Yeah,
pretty much everything with Neil Patrick Harris. He's phenomenal.
yeah, he's really good in this. It's so funny seeing him play that role because at that time when I saw it, he was just coming off Doogie Howser.
Mhm.
So, that was the persona that he people saw him as. And then the thing then he's a Starship Troopers, and it's just like, and then you would see him get tough, toward the
Mhm.
end. Have you seen the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the scene where he comes in there and he says, this is a battle of the species, boys and girls." Yeah, it's like, damn, is that Doogie getting down or what?
Mhm.
Uh,
Just
yeah,
really made me want a ferret that I could train too, because
yeah,
that was pretty rad.
Cyrano, go bug mom.
Indeed. I've almost trained my cats, almost. Or maybe they've trained me to believe that I've trained them. Either way, they sometimes do what I ask them to.
I, I think the cheetah trained me.
Mhm.
Yeah, he trained me like every morning I get up and I go downstairs and I give him treats.
Mhm.
It's not like, he'll wake me up and he'll sit there and he'll
Yeah.
talk to me about it.
Aw.
but I'm going to be getting a break from that because it's getting colder.
Mhm.
So now he's going underneath the blanket, and so he won't be getting up quite so early begging for treats.
That's
Uh,
amazing. Oh, thank you for your well wishes on my Christmas tree. It's actually our perpetual holiday tree. I'll move out of the way a little bit. How do I do this? You can see we just kind of keep adding ornaments. Most of them are Halloween themed, but they're from a lot of different local artists. I love supporting local. So
so
we keep this up year round. I think it's been up for nearly a year now because we've been in this house for just over a year.
now is this like a Christmas ween tree?
Sort of. It also works for every other holiday because once Christmas is over, it'll just stay up. We'll just keep adding ornaments.
4th of July, independent
Oh,
ween.
yeah, we'll just switch up the lights. They'll be maybe a little bit more patriotically colored. Works out
Uh,
well. Oh, also,
so
we're
what
just really lazy. Once we put it up, we don't like to have to take it down.
exactly is I could see that. I mean, who
Mhm,
wants to do that? That's the thing. But I don't do Christmas myself, but I get
mhm.
that. As far as that goes, um, you put it all up and you spend all that time putting it up and everything else looks really nice. And then at the end of it, they can put it all back. And it's
Oh,
funny. It's funny. It's like whenever every time you want to put up, and this from displays. How about this?
mhm.
Your displays, right? Your table at your shows.
Absolutely.
Everybody will come in there and I'll help you build up the display, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the show, it's mostly just you and maybe one other person, right?
It is, gotta take it all
No,
back down again.
nobody wants to break it down. Everybody wants to set it
Mm.
up to look so pretty at the end of it. But when it comes down
Granted
to breaking it down, it's like, uh,
uh,
where's
granted,
all my
breaking it
where's all
down
my bread?
takes so much less effort than putting it up in the first place. I'd say probably about a third of the time, so, uh, and at that point, we're all so exhausted, we really just wanna get out of there and get some food. So, it goes pretty fast, it's not too bad,
Do
but it's
they
great for
do
warming
you
up.
do the shows, do the showrunners of the festivals and the expos and whatnot, do they feed the artists? Do you guys get like a voucher for food?
It depends on the event. Some of them have, like, a green room for artists in the back, where we get free food and snacks. Not all of them can afford that or provide it depending on the facilities. Normally, we're in places where there are food options available. A lot of people have food restrictions and stuff too. Mostly, I just bring water and tea and snacks, and then I'm pretty much set for the day, have the big meal at the end. Sometimes, like the last show that I worked down in Portland, it was the Oddities and Curiosities Expo, not this weekend, but the weekend before. They had a macaroni and cheese booth, and it was the best thing ever. I love cheese, by the way, in case anybody needed to know
I
that.
love cheese. What's your favorite cheese?
Oh man, it's so hard to say. Right now, I'm gonna have to go with Gruyere because it goes with pretty much everything. Although Munster and Havarti are very close seconds because I can just eat them by the handful.
I I love Swiss cheese. I
Yeah.
can put Swiss cheese on just about anything.
Mhm.
The only
It
thing
goes
I'm
on almost everything.
I don't know if I've ever tried this though, because I've never seen shredded Swiss cheese sold, but I would love to see how Swiss cheese would taste on a pizza.
Oh, man. It would be interesting. It might or might not go with the red sauce, but it would go very well with some sort of an olive oil sauce, I feel,
Yeah.
especially with some fresh basil and maybe some tomatoes. Now
Um,
I'm hungry.
there's I'm sorry. I looked over your writer before the show, and I did not see anything about me having to feed you. So
Oh, shame, shame.
I
I'll be
know.
fine. I've got my
But
water and my tea.
that's going to leave the door open for Marshall over here because
Mhm.
Marshall's coming up to our show next month.
Oh,
So Marshall, don't even think about sending me a writer, and he knows what a writer is. He knows what a
all right.
writer is. And don't
Let's
send me
see
a
what
no
kind of
writer.
unreasonable expectations we can compile
Yes,
before then.
I want ten sir and C Wise is there. Dizzy and Rico
Mm,
are going to sit there and say, yeah, I want some food too.
mhm.
We don't do food. Um,
Food and
boy,
kittens is what I demand.
though I have to sit there and say I did though have to admit that I on the midnight hour I lost a bet to our good friend Hobbs.
Oh, no. What happened?
Yeah, our football teams played,
Okay.
and it was whoever's team lost, the other person had to eat their pet's food. So he had a dog, and I have a
Mhm.
So I lost, and I had to eat cat food on live. Yeah,
It's actually depending on the cat food, it's not that bad. I do have a tangential story if you would like to hear a story about cat
sure,
food.
sure. Let's hear a cat food story.
Um, so my dad used to cook a lot, and sometimes he would go through the fridge and find a bunch of leftovers, and he would toss all of the leftovers in the pot. Now, we didn't usually do cat food in a can very often, but one year my mom decided the cats were being special. It was a special occasion. So she fed them half a can of cat food and put the rest in a Tupperware. Now, we all woke up the next morning. We'd had company the night before for this massive stew that my dad had created. She went to feed the cats and couldn't find the cat food. So she asked my dad, and she was like, honey, where's the cat food? And he was like, I don't know. Was it in here? Guess it's in the soup. So, yeah, we all had cat food for dinner that night.
So
Nobody
awesome.
noticed. It was great.
It wouldn't have been okay. We're probably going to lose half our audience here, but it wasn't
Sorry,
that.
guys.
Yeah, sorry. I had to eat IAMs because I feed the cheetah good food. So I
Okay. Was it the
popped
wet
open
stuff
a
or
can
the
of
hard
IAMs,
food?
and I took a bite. And when you first bite, it has a little bit of consistency like meatloaf.
Yeah,
But
I could see that.
it wouldn't have been so bad except for that last aftertaste, and there was this really weird taste to it. And it just like
Mhm.
no, it just ruined the whole thing.
I'm so
And
sorry.
then I started feeling bad because it's like I'm feeding the cheetah this. I wonder if he tastes the same thing. But he
Mhm.
loved it, and he was definitely. If you go watch the video, he was cat sharking in front of me,
Oh, that's
which he
amazing.
never does. But I only took a fair bite, but I gave him the rest of his can, and he was so happy. But I mean, I lost the bet. I wasn't going to do one of those. Look at putting a little spurs on my.
Mhm.
No, I took a bite. I
Oh,
lost.
yeah. You can't be a welcher. That's how it
No,
goes.
no, no. You got to be honest. You got to be fair. You got to be honest.
I feel like
Um,
most animals don't have much basis for comparison. I mean, if they grow up on cat food and they eat cat food, they're probably okay with it. My cats, because they are now my models and they pay my rent, did get upgraded to soft food a couple years ago, so they're pretty happy. I essentially feed them tuna and salmon, and it comes in aspic, so it's all nicely contained. They love it.
I,
Sometimes they do sneak people food. It's rare, but it does happen. My little diesel model, she's the little black one that you'll see in a lot of my paintings, is a meat thief. If you have meat in your general vicinity, she will do her best to snag it. And she has absconded with a hot dog before, a full hot dog.
Now that's something I was going to ask you.
Mhm.
I'll ask you now because if you say yes, then I already know what I'm doing. Everybody, yeah, I did not love that, Jennifer. I did not love the cat. I did
Oh,
not love the cat food. I did not love the cheetah like looking at me like he was going to take off my face.
oh no.
Not really. He was like, okay, can I have the rest?
Mhm.
Actually, yesterday for the first time, and I've had him for 8 years. For the first
Aw.
time, and this happened last time too, with my other cat. The first time yesterday, he ate real tuna.
Oh, wow. What was
First
his
time.
reaction?
Because before he's never wanted it. I've
Mhm.
dozens of times they'll meow for it, and it's like, okay, here you go, here's what I'm having, and then they'll just leave it on the plate. They're like, nope, nope. So they're in love with the idea of having tuna, but they're not really enamored of eating the tuna. So
Gotcha.
yesterday I did it again. Says, here you go. Here you can have some tuna. I said, you
Mhm.
can eat this, but here you go. I know it's gonna go to waste. He ate
Yeah.
it. He actually ate it. I was like shocked. I was like, wow, that's the first time you've ever eaten tuna. So now I know I have a feeling I'm in trouble now.
Now he knows people food is fair game. I hear ya.
Um, yeah, I love the way how you described your that you said your models because
Mhm.
you are very much your art is very much centered among cats.
It is.
Now now is that now has that always been?
No, it hasn't always. I mean, I've always loved animals. I grew up with cats and dogs and a whole host of critters. But I actually started out drawing people. I've always loved faces and all the cool imperfections that make us all super unique. I did photorealistic portrait drawing pretty much all through grade school up through high school. And it was fun. I mean, I draw friends, I draw family members, I draw my favorite musicians and actors and stuff. Um, then I went to college for oil painting and photography and kind of experimented a little bit. I did a whole series of oil portraits of my friends, and I loved it, but it's kind of hard to get people to model for you. You
Mm.
have to kind of schedule around it, or you're working from photos, which just isn't quite as dynamic. And granted, I use a lot of photo references. I certainly don't mind them. They're very helpful for pet portraits when I can't actually meet the pets in person, which happens a lot. But after college, I ended up losing my oil painting studio space, and I learned that cats love getting into oil paints. And I also learned that cleaning oil paints off of cats and carpet is
Mm.
not fun. So
No.
I decided that it would be interesting to switch media. I had a couple artists that I really admired, and I was living with a roommate at the time who was doing a lot of kind of experimental stuff with watercolors. So she let me borrow some of her supplies, and I totally fell in love with it. And I had bosses at the time. I worked at a classic car shop for 15 years while I was becoming a full time artist. And they had these beautiful Maine Coon cats. So I asked them if I could take some pictures and use them to kind of practice watercolor. And they said yes. And I had so much fun with the fur textures. Their cats were very opinionated. So capturing
Maine
all
Coon,
of their
Maine Coons
expressions
always,
and stuff was fun. Sorry,
uh,
what was that?
the Maine Coons are very known for their opinions.
Oh my
They're
gosh,
very
right?
opinionated. Uh,
Oh, a portrait of the cheetah would be amazing.
I
That'd be
love
super
that.
cool.
I'll have we'll have to talk about that. I'd love to
Yeah,
see
totally.
Bermuda. So let's circle back though. We got to circle back
Mhm.
to the beginning because I really want to find out how you got started. And it's a question I ask everybody, and
Sure,
that is, when you grew up, were your parents creatives as well, or is this something?
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they are just amazing. Sorry.
That's awesome, man. There's no shame in the game for loving your parents.
100%. There is no way that I would be a professional artist without their help, without their support, and, just without their general awesomeness. Um,
I think everybody here in the chat can definitely I'm sure they're tearing up as well because they can relate to that. It's like our parents, they
mhm,
help guide us, they help mold us, and it's like one of the questions I love to asking because to me, it's like anybody that's a creative, anybody that's an artist is artistic. I just always want to know were your parents that way because you got to get it from somewhere.
mhm.
Now,
Well,
now, were they painters as well, or sculptors, or writers?
a little bit of everything. I've got let's see, grew up with my mom and my dad and my brother. Um, they are all fantastic musicians, and I can pick up an instrument and not break it. I can sort of hold a tune and I've got a little bit of a rhythm, but they definitely take the cake when it comes to instruments. My dad was a classical guitar player, um, a bit of a renaissance man. He could do kind of everything. So, yeah, I grew up with his paintings, his drawings, his sculpture, ceramics. He even built a few instruments, which was super cool. Woodworker, carpenter, mechanic. As long as it wasn't electronic, he could fix it. Once we got into electronics, it got a little bit complicated. My mom has a background in architecture, so my parents would oftentimes just design these amazing fantasy houses and then would ask my brother and I, like, how we wanted to decorate them. One of them I remember had this giant upside down tree stump right in the middle of a turret, and there was a staircase going around it. It was really fun. My dad used to write stories a lot too and then illustrate them. So we have a lot of family stories that probably make no sense to anybody outside of our family or friend group, but it's kind of the mythology that I grew up with. So
Do you,
whenever
you have all those books put away safely?
We never turned any of them into physical books, but we do have all of the drawings and the writings. Those guys are in safe and happy places.
Wow.
So if you ever want to learn more about the adventures of Garrett the ferret and Ted the grunting egg, or the little pink boy, just ask me and my family. Um, there are lots of exciting adventures there. So no, whenever we came up with ideas, my folks were very supportive of anything that we wanted to do creatively. If we wanted to play with Legos, if we wanted to build a dirt fort, if we wanted to climb trees and capture squirrels, it was we kind of grew up in the woods, so there was a lot of entertainment there. No TV either.
No,
So books and toys were kind of where it was at.
I grew up on. I used to go up there on my grandparents' ranch. They had a ranch
Mm,
in Grass Valley, California.
mm.
Uh, Ranch. I used to go up there every summer and spend, like half the summer up there. So it was amazing. The you could read by starlight up there. It was so bright. So
Oh,
yeah,
that
uh,
sounds amazing.
it is amazing. I've only done that twice. I did
Yeah.
it, yeah, I did it once in Rose Ranch, and then I made a trip to Alabama and
Ooh.
starlight underneath there in Alabama.
Ah,
It's amazing and it's incredibly romantic too.
yeah. I could see
Um,
that. There's something about the stars without the city light interference. I live in Seattle, so it's rare that I get to see the stars unless I get a little bit further out of the city. And my mom now lives out in the mountains, so if I head out to the Olympic Peninsula, we've got great view of the stars out there. That's really pretty.
I can imagine how beautiful that is. My brother lives in Portland.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's
So he,
gorgeous down there too.
he really well he loved it. He's loved it. He got a little bit sour because of the incidents with the pandemic and whatnot, and the other issues that plague Portland at the moment. But
Mhm.
he'll fall back in love with it because he really has really talked really highly of it. Uh,
Mhm.
Now, how old were you when you actually truly realized that you were making, went from finger painting to like your serious art, like you
Um,
actually really wanted to do something with it.
I guess I didn't really realize that I could make a living with it until after college, because a bunch of my friends got into the convention scene. I mean, I grew up in Renaissance fairs and I went to Comic Con and everything, and I didn't really think at the time that I could be one of those artists behind the tables selling stuff. Because usually it was, the comic artists, and they were the ones who drew Spider-Man and Superman, and they were there, and you could get their signature. And I was like, well, I don't really draw comics. Like, I love comics. I grew up collecting comic trading cards with my brother. I did draw a lot of comic characters when I was little, but it wasn't really my passion. It was more just like, I like that character. I want to try to emulate this artist's style. Okay, I know how to do that. I'm kind of bored now. I move on.
Right.
For me, it was much more about like skin textures and like facial details and stuff. Portraiture was definitely where I was more interested. But then I realized a lot of my friends after school didn't want to be gallery artists because that's a really hard world to break into. And
Oh
they
yeah.
didn't really, yeah, right?
You
And
gotta
they
have
don't really
you
tell
gotta
you
have
in school.
Patreon. You gotta have Patreons and
Hmm.
are being shown in gallery. It's a whole. It's not the level of talent. That's the funny
Hmm.
thing about it is because I've been to many galleries where the talent has been, in my opinion, has been actually not overwhelming. Like to be kind about it, you
Yeah.
know. But a lot of times it's because they have a rich patron that
Hmm.
donates money to the gallery or to the owner of the gallery is one of their charities or whatever. Next thing you know, their patron is being shown as and sponsored, and next thing you know, a couple other paintings get sold by the right person, and that creates oh my gosh, it's
Now
there's
you've
there's
got
a
name
new,
recognition.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a new superstar, and you're looking at it and going like,
It
wow.
kinda depends, like, every gallery does it a little differently. I do work with a bunch of local galleries in Seattle. Many of them are very passionate about supporting local artists, and showing work that really meets their aesthetic and their style qualities. And those guys I love. I gotta plug my favorite art space right now. Actually, a couple of them because Seattle is amazing for that. Gargoyles is Seattle's premier dark art and mystical shop. And Gail, the proprietor, has a lot of local artists represented in her shop. I do a lot of group shows with them. I do a lot of solo shows. We've got one a year coming up, usually around July. If I can find them, my most recent painting series for them was this really silly set of poison kittens. I fused cats with poisonous plants, kind of like a public service announcement because cats are allergic to pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But those go over really well there. There's also, oh gosh, monster art and clothing down in Ballard. Next month, I'm actually going to have a show opening there with one of my best friends, Stasia. She also makes cat art. And we're calling it Kitty Party. This will be either the 4th or 5th year running that we'll have it. So it's going to be all cat themed art, all new original pieces. They also support a
No.
bunch of different local artists. They've got a sock wall, they've got shower art, lots of postcards and fun little accessories, and it's all super colorful.
Now, is cat art like the creme of the creme? If you could do cat art, does that make you like an elite artist? I mean, if you could do cat art.
I don't know if it'll make you elite, but it certainly has a lot of followers. The internet loves cats, and every time I go out to an event, even if people aren't a fan of like my fan art or like the Poison Puss series or all of my quarantine kittens, they will see cats and they will come running. I have had people scream from halfway across the show floor and be like, "Cats!" and then run full tilt at my booth.
You notice that no one ever does that for dogs. You never notice that? No one does dogs. You know, the only thing you tell dogs is get off my yard or quit pooping.
I have found I love dogs too. I grew up with dogs. I adore them. I don't have any currently because I travel so frequently. It would just be crazy pants. Dog folks tend to be really particular. They want a photo or an art piece of their dog. So say I do Thor as a golden retriever. People start asking me why he's not a German Shepherd or a Poodle or a Pomeranian, and then there are just too many dogs. I would have to paint a million Thors. Whereas cat people kind of love all cats. I mean, there are a few of us who are very particular, but I mean, I've had folks come up to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, your little black cat looks just like my cat, except for he's orange and he's missing an eye and a leg." And I'm like, "Just like your cat." But it's the expression.
Just a slight color discoloration. Could be my twin. Could be twin.
We know as cat people, like that is the expression of our cat. That's the personality of our cat. My cat does that too. Like I relate.
Yeah, people.
Just an aside. Sadly,
cats
I don't have a YouTube channel. I just wanted to answer Mr. Bones there for a moment.
Oh.
As you can see, I'm super awkward on video, so I don't do this very often.
Actually, you're crushing it. You're actually crushing it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you for bearing with me.
I would. No, you're crushing it. This is just. Are you having fun?
I'm having a blast. It's been kind of a rough couple days, so this is such a pleasure compared to dealing with art thieves and angry Etsy clients. Thank you for being awesome.
Okay. Yeah, Jennifer, you're so easy. It's so easy. All I had to sit there and say about dogs, and I knew she'd come running. So she's a dog person. I know she can't help it, but she's allergic to cats. And that's funny. So it's funny. I mean, it's really sad. I feel sorry for people who are allergic to dogs and cats. For other, I really am. I mean, I think it's terrible because after that, what happens is because it's natural, is I'm scared of the animals.
Yeah, that can happen.
We had a friend of my wife had a couple of friends of hers, and his companion was very allergic. But he still came over to our house, and as soon as he came into our house, all of a sudden, and this is true because cats and dogs both do this. They read your eyes, and if you don't meet their eyesight, you look away or turn down, or like you're shy away from them, they will come to you because they're exerting dominance. And one of the best things I heard is if you're allergic to a dog or a cat, the very first thing you do, you go over there, you say hi to the animal, and you pat it. You pat its head, you say, "Hi, how are you?" Now, most times a touch won't cause a reaction, but what it does, it tells the animal that you're not afraid, you're acknowledging them, and more often than not, they'll leave you alone. They'll do something else. But if you don't, you'll get a lap cat. It's
We have
absolutely
3 of
true.
those.
The young man sat down, and
Mhm.
my cat jumped on his lap right away and sat down. And he was too polite, but we knew what he was allergic, so we put
Mm,
him off. But that's what happened,
yeah.
and it was something that my cat rarely ever did,
Oh,
especially not
no.
to strangers.
Yeah, that's
It's just a,
amazing.
yeah.
You judge a
Uh,
character.
uh,
No, they know. Like, I always talk to my cats like humans. I like treating animals as they are. They're members of my family, and yeah, I think they understand. I mean, they definitely know their names. They'll usually come when they're called. For those of you who don't know me or my cats, I've got Diesel. She's a tiny little black munchkin cat. She just turned 12 and she's about 6 pounds of concentrated awesome. She's got a stubby little tail and stubby little legs. They're all rescues. She's been my main model for about 10 years. And then 4 years ago, we adopted Ghost and Earl Grey, who are my Nebelung Floof twins. They're pretty much like rag dolls. You pick them up and they just flop, and you can roll them into balls, fold them over counter. Like they'll go everywhere you put them, and they do nothing but purr all the time. It's well, purr and cough up hairballs, but it's what we get with long-haired cats. It had been a
yeah.
while; I'd kind of forgotten.
Yeah, that's one good thing about Paladin versus Derek Jeter was Paladin doesn't do fur balls very much, very very rarely.
Diesel
Yeah,
either. She's kind of the perfect cat.
I think. Um,
Cheers to
so
perfect
now
cats.
were animals a big part of your family growing up?
Hmm.
Did you have animals?
We did. Yeah, we grew up with dogs, cats, gosh, snakes, geckos, frogs. We had a couple fish. Then we learned we really shouldn't be taking care of fish. We had a fleet of guinea hens at one point. I know that's not the technical term for a fleet of them, but there were lots and they kept running around. Mostly dogs and cats, though. They're good for inside and outside critters. I mean, now I keep all of mine inside. Obviously, I live in Seattle. There's no way I want them making friends with cards and raccoons. But
No.
yeah, we've always been a really animal friendly family. We take in a lot of strays. I think probably the most animals we ever had at once was a dog and 14 cats. So we had two mum cats that went out and got frisky, and then had 6 kittens each.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course, those were
That,
the days where you could give them away in front of a grocery store with a bag of cat food. So we
yeah,
found homes for most of
now
them.
you can do that. That's really has changed, hasn't it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, now adoption fees and everyone has to vet you. And even if you want to get a cat for free, you've got to fill out a million well, maybe not a million, but at least 3 pages of background information, and which I don't necessarily disagree with. It's nice to know everybody's going to a good home. But
No, I don't either. A lot of I sometimes I tell the story, but I actually volunteered. I thought I'd try to volunteer at an animal shelter. So
mhm.
I went down there, and I went down there and I actually did it for 2 days because
Yeah.
and then people came down there and says, because I just wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to write about it. Was really what I want.
Yeah.
I want to write about the experience. So
Mhm.
I came back and people said, well, what was the roughest thing? Seeing the animals killed. It was a kill shelter.
Oh, oh God,
That,
that's hard.
I said, absolutely. You think that would be the hard? You think that would be the hard part? The hard part, but it was absolutely not the worst thing. That was
No?
the worst thing was, and I worked it both days.
Mhm.
The worst thing was the surrender table.
Yeah. Just all the
Surrender
reasons
table
people
was a
had
lot
for
worse than the putting down the sleep chamber. The
yep, yep.
surrender table was absolutely just the worst.
Oh,
And I could understand why, if you ever know anybody who works at an animal shelter,
I do.
you understand why they don't like you. 'Cause they don't like people at all.
Mm-mm. I mean,
No,
they work with animals because they love animals. I get
right?
that.
Yeah. So you had all these great animals. You sounds like a total freestyle upbringing. Uh, uh, and you obviously they cared about your education too, because you went on to college.
I
So
did. Yeah.
were you drawing before you got to college? I mean, were
Oh,
you like,
yeah.
okay, what
Yeah,
what
like I
were
said,
what?
I was doing portraits of people and stuff. Probably photorealism as early as 2nd, 3rd grade. I drew constantly, so photorealism is definitely a skill that you can learn. I was doing it from life, from photos, and I love drawing people. So when I was probably 5-ish, I really started getting into it, and then by the time I was 7 or 8, yeah, I was drawing very recognizable portraits. I wish I had some here to show. They're all in a portfolio downstairs, but you guys can find them on my website in the drawing section. Um, but yeah, by the time I was in high school, pretty much all I did all the time was photorealistic portraits of people. And yeah, college just kind of got me out of my comfort zone a little bit. It was all black and white graphite before then. So I got to experiment with color. I got to, gosh, probably one of my favorite classes was painting from the ground up, where we got to make our own pigments and stretch our own canvases. We got to go out into nature and just pick things, collect things, and then come back into the classroom and grind them up and mix them with different kind of media and see what they would do. Some of them were light fast and turned out to be archival, and I still have those pieces to this day. Some of them got moldy in a couple days and then started smelling up the studio.
So you
So
went
those
out,
ones we had to
you went
throw
out
away.
and you actually went out and made your own paint out of the elements.
Uh-huh.
Wow, I never heard
Yeah.
anybody.
It was super fun. I mean, we did it the professional, traditional way too. We had a lot of pigments that we could work with, like the master painters did in the Renaissance. Some of them, it depends on what you mix them with. They will turn completely different colors. Cochineal is one of the most fascinating substances I've worked with. They are essentially little dried bug shells, and depending on what you mix them with, they can turn into a purple pigment, a red pigment, or like this golden ochre pigment. It's really cool.
Now, do you
But of
still
course,
do
then you
that?
have to work with crushed dried bugs. So
Do you
to
still
each
use,
their own.
do you still do that medium today? I mean, do you still do that and do that?
I wish I did. I don't really have the space or the cleaning capacity or the ventilation for oil paints right now. I guess I could do it in my garage, but it's not really warm. So I unfortunately have had to leave oil painting behind for a little bit. My partner and I hope to someday own a home where I can set up a studio dedicated to oil painting because I miss it. I love it. It's like painting with butter. And
Is your partner an artist as well?
he's a creative. He also does a little bit of everything. I would call him a Renaissance man as well. His name is John, for those of you who don't know him personally. He's pretty rad. Found him on Craigslist, turned into a roommate, and then we ended up hitting it off. So,
Uh-huh. Wow,
yeah,
hold on. We need to mark this moment because
yeah.
you might be the only thing ever good I've ever seen out of Craigslist.
Well, like I said, we were looking for a roommate, and he popped up, and he knew that we were kind of a creative household, so he met us in the food court of the local mall, which none of us frequented because none of us are mall people. But he was wearing a T-shirt that had the Renaissance painters and sculptors on it, but they were all wearing the Ninja Turtle masks.
Yeah,
So I knew immediately that we were going to get along.
yeah. Oh, that's funny you mentioned that because have you ever heard of the group ERB, Epic Rap
Mhm.
Battles of History?
Oh, yes, epic rap battles. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Did you
hadn't
see the
yeah.
one with the Renaissance versus the Ninja Turtles?
Oh my gosh, I have to check that out. That sounds
Oh,
amazing.
yeah, it's awesome. They yeah, it's hilarious. Uh, yeah. Okay. So, what college did you go to?
I went to Cornish College of the Arts. Yeah, I took a year off after high school just to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, and my folks were like, "We can't miss you if you never leave, so we will help you pay for your first year of art school if you leave." Not that they were unhappy that I was there. I get along with them. They're fantastic humans. And my dad actually made me pay rent for that year by doing a series of gesture drawings, which are just kind of little studies of movements and stuff. So I had to turn in one a week, and if I didn't, then I had to do all the dishes. So
Is a hero.
he is.
He really pushed you, didn't he?
He's pretty amazing. Sadly, he did pass away a few years ago.
Oh, it's okay. You can let it go. You're loved here. You're loved here.
I feel loved here. But no, it was very sudden and very unexpected. But we were so close, and he's such a huge part of who I am. Um, just as an artist and a human, that it definitely feels like he's still here.
Yeah, well, he is at everything you do, right? I mean, every
Absolutely.
art, everything that you do, every bro stroke,
Mm.
everything you do, he's there. I mean, obviously, he's your legacy.
Or I'm his, I don't know how that works.
No, either. Maybe
I
both.
mean, he created a bunch of things too, not just me, so that's, no, he was a pretty cool human, and I am extremely thankful that I do still have my mom and my brother, gosh, they're the best family. I am
Mr.
extremely
Bone,
blessed.
Mr. Bone says he feels you. He
Yeah,
lost his
well,
mother not long ago.
I'm
She
so
was,
sorry to hear that.
yeah,
Mm. It's just it's not a thing you can really describe to anybody, until they go through it, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone, it kinda sucks. So,
yeah.
my
No,
my heart goes out to you too, Mr. Bones, I am truly sorry.
um, is everybody hearing this okay? Um,
Yeah, I know my, mic setup is just the one that's running through my laptop, so if there's anything I can do differently on my
I
end,
know.
please let me know.
I noticed it says here our chat disconnected. Hopefully they can okay, reconnected. I don't know. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I saw the YouTube was doing that earlier. I was watching another stream and
Mm,
it started glitching up with that. So I just want to make sure that we have our chat still with us.
okay.
Um so now you think where's the Cornish College of Art?
Um, it's local to Seattle. Yeah, it is right in the downtown area, and they also have a campus up on Capitol Hill, and since I've left, I hear they keep buying up property all around town, so not entirely sure, what their future plans are, but it was great. Honestly, I don't know if I would recommend it as a professional art school. If you want to make money as an artist, at least the program that I was there for, they really push the gallery artist end of things, and I love making stuff, and I love framing it and putting it on a wall and curating shows, and it's super fun, but that's not everybody's goal. And I would say the main thing that I took away from Cornish was a couple of amazing professors who I met there and all of my friends. The people that I met at Cornish are still some of the best friends I have in the entire world, and they're part of the art community. They're super inspiring, collaborative, super supportive people. So I'd say just if anyone's thinking of going to art school out there, go to meet fellow creatives, because it's really about putting yourself in a situation where you can just be in a creative space and be inspired by other humans. That was invaluable. Cornish cost about $100,000.
Yeah.
Most of which I got through with scholarships. Not all of it. I think I'll probably be paying off student loans for a while, but that's true for most people from my generation, so I don't feel really special there.
No, no,
But
it's
the people are priceless.
uh when you I mean, yeah, I'm just hearing what you said about the gallery aspect of it things because to me that's like I mean, we talked about that just a minute ago, but gallery art
Mhm.
that's a that's hard.
It's
That's
a
hard.
very different beast. And honestly, I do work with a lot of gallerists in Seattle. Before the pandemic, I got to be a curator, which means I got to go to artists and select work and create shows with themes and install the work and then handle all of the sales, communicate with artists. It was very rewarding, just having local spaces that trusted me enough to put art on walls and find them artists that kind of jived with their vibe. It was super fun, and then, of course, a bunch of places closed down because of the pandemic, so I don't curate much anymore, but a few of my friends happily, still have gallery spaces, like Gail at Gargoyles, Monster, and then, Ghost Gallery. I love working with them too, they're super fantastic. So I'll help them install shows sometimes. Sometimes I'll still refer artists to them. Because honestly, if you want to get into the gallery world, it's the best thing I can recommend. Find out what the galleries are in your town, figure out their aesthetics, go
Are these
and check
galleries
out
that
the
shut
place in
down?
person.
Are these galleries
Um,
that are shut down, or you think they'll come back, Braden?
some of them no. Some of them just closed for good. It's hard when you don't have a side business. Like my friends who used to run let's see, it was called Crab Jab Studio way back in the day. They actually recently rebranded as Mainframe, so they're a frame shop and a gallery. So even if they're not selling art off the walls, they have normal income. And
Right.
Gargoyles is also a gift shop. Monster is also a gift shop. Ghost Gallery is both a gallery and a gift shop. So and a wine shop. They
So
do.
the gallery
Mhm.
the galleries have had to evolve then.
Exactly. Yeah, we've all got to juggle multiple things that we never thought we'd have to do. But we're creative humans, so creative solutions for
How,
exciting problems.
how does I mean has other art have other art shows like you've done other shows like the different expos like the oddities and curiosities,
Mm.
those shows had to evolve as well?
Some of them have, some of them were just kind of put on hold for the pandemic. Unfortunately, with the convention, a lot of it is in person. There's just only so much you can do if you can't set up booths and get people in the door, or you can't have celebrities in person that people can meet and sign autographs with. You can't have panels where people can ask questions in, real time. Some conventions tried to go online. Some were more successful than others, but overall, I would say that that is an area of the art world that is much better and more profitable for the showrunners and the artists in person. The attendees too. It's just you get more of an experience.
Now
Uh,
has this affected the way you do art at all? I mean, do you had to adjust your style of painting to fit this
hmm,
fit this
that's a
new
good
new
question. um, yes and no. My style hasn't changed. I still love watercolor. I still paint my cats. They're still ridiculous. But my subject matter has. Because when I do conventions, normally I do about 30 shows a year all over the US. I travel a lot. Um, and many of them are comic themed shows. Some of them are horror shows. Some of them are cat specific shows. They're totally cat conventions. They're amazing, and you should check them out.
I'd be there all the time.
Seattle has its own
I
now,
wouldn't see it. I wouldn't go anywhere else.
right?
Yeah, that's it.
um,
I'm home.
but if I knew my convention schedule a whole year in advance, we were talking about scheduling and how important having a calendar is.
Yes.
um, I would be able to plan for those events. It's like, all right, well, in April, I'm going to be in Salt Lake City. These movies just came out. These celebrities are going to be there. So oftentimes I would be able to plan for creating a new piece that would coincide with that celebrity that was going to be there. It's like, all right, well, we're going to have the dude who played Winter Soldier because he's fabulous. So maybe I should paint a Winter Soldier cat or, that kind of a thing. Um, and of course, all of my cats are, I do parodies. It's kind of imagined cosplay. I name them things that are totally different from what the actual character is. So mine is like a Win Per Soldier because I can't get enough cat puns. And I also respect the IPs of
Winter.
the original creators of these characters, and it's important to me that I don't step on any intellectual property toes
Wait a
or
minute. If
as well.
Marvel gives you grief because you paint Winter Soldier and he
Mhm,
has a cat,
exactly.
you tell him to come talk to me.
Well, the thing with parody is you can change a thing and make it your own, so it's just kind of inspired by. But if you use logos, if you use the actual name of the character, or if I tag Marvel anywhere in it, then
Right.
I'm kind of building off of their thing. So it was fun, and I do enjoy the fan art. It brings a lot of people in, and it's all characters that we love and relate to. But without conventions, there were an entire 14 months where I didn't have any shows and I wasn't traveling. So instead of painting the superheroes and the horror kittens that I was used to, I started painting some really weird stuff. And
Good
I
time to
did.
experiment though, right?
Mhm,
You were able to. I mean, for a while there, you were able just before you would have to paint for every show, right? I mean,
mhm.
how much catalog do you use? How much inventory do you carry?
Oh my gosh. I probably have over 300 images right now that I regularly bring out to events, and I'll switch it up. It's like I've got my horror kittens. Let me see if I can find some kitties over here. Oh,
Sure. And Mr. Bones just mentioned that, so I'm sure he'll love this.
right, right. Okay, well, these are examples of some of my my comic kittens. So you got your DC kittens, and then some of the Marvel kitties there.
Wow, boy, if they
It's
would have
super
put those
fun.
on instead of that, if they would have put those on instead of the stupid Guardians of the Galaxy, they might
Oh
have made
my
some
gosh.
money.
And then here's some of my horror kittens and quarantine kittens. These guys are really fun.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
then
what kind of horror cats you got there?
you
Oh, I see
can
Screen
see
Face,
the
Ghost
classic
Face.
80s horror kitties there. Sorry, the light's a little bit bright. And then we got
Is there is
some
that is
recent
that is that
classics.
Halloween? Is that Halloween? Oh, is that? Oh,
Uh-huh.
that cat sleep. That cat's sleeping.
Yep.
That's just like the movie,
We
Sleepy.
call them, yeah, my Hissoween, and then we've got my dream killer and my camp killer and my zombie killer and my creepy clown.
Oh, there's your Jason one. Oh gosh, look at the Jason one. Why does he have a machete? He doesn't need that. He's got his claws.
Right.
Sam Kitty. Oh, let's see Sam Kitty. Oh my God, that's crazy.
I love doing those. I mean, I'm a horror fan. I grew up with horror. I was anything that I'm totally in love with. So when people ask me to paint a thing, it's like, maybe it might be on my list, or you can pay me to do it because I love commissions too. I actually
Um,
do a lot of pet portraits on commission. So you can see some examples of ones I've done in the past.
okay,
These guys are also silly, all different animals. Oh, there's one of my favorite Loki ones that I've done. But yeah, they're good times. But like I said, without conventions and stuff, I didn't really need to meet any deadlines. There weren't any shows or movie releases that I had to make art for. So I started doing things like the poison pusses. I started painting some quarantine cats because honestly, when you're under lockdown, sometimes you need something
I was going to ask you,
like a COVID cat.
I mean, how much did you paint during the pandemic, Braden? I mean, was this something I mean, the pandemic obviously stifled you, show wise, but how did you stay busy creatively? Did
I
you
was
wake
painting.
up ready? Did you wake up and ready to go get it, or was it hard to get motivated to paint when there's no sales going on, no shows going on?
It was initially pretty hard. It is devastating when you hear via email that your biggest show of the year has been canceled. And then there went 90% of my income. So that was a little bit rough. Took a couple weeks to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And my cats kept being cute. So, of course, I can't stop painting them. So that's kind of when I came up with the idea of the quarantine kittens. This guy is one of my new favorites. He's my plague doctor. You can kind of see I printed them on this holographic paper too, so they're all prismatic and shiny.
Wow, that's
Um,
really cool.
this guy came up too because I feel like he appropriately exemplifies how the last couple years have been. So
Yeah,
it's been fun.
that would be me for the last 10 years.
Oh, right. But really, what helped keep me grounded, because it was not just a loss of income and direction. Like I'd been doing conventions full time for over 5 years at this point. It was more just the community that I was missing and that I couldn't get back in touch with because online everyone was freaking out and we didn't have that in person connection anymore. So sorry, still emotional.
It's okay. It's okay.
Been a
You
rough one.
be yourself. You're good to go. You're doing
We're good.
awesome.
We're good.
Yeah.
So what I actually decided to do was to partner with a bunch of local animal rescues because it wasn't just artists that were affected; it was everybody.
Yes.
And like a lot of these small galleries, animal rescues are volunteer run. They couldn't keep their doors open. They had to foster out a bunch of their animals. They couldn't do adoptions, and it wasn't just people who were affected.
Yeah.
It was the kittens. So I decided to paint a bunch of wildcats for charity.
Yeah,
uh,
talk to us about that.
yeah, it was kind of random. I love learning about animals, and I've been painting cats for so long, just like regular house cats and such. I really wanted to learn about some wildlife because I love wildlife. I grew up with it surrounding me. Not wildcats so much. I mean, we got cougars in the mountains, but aside from that, um, I wanted to do a project that would both benefit me and I could learn a little bit more about all of these creatures that I've admired and loved for such a long time, and also create some really fun portraits to help give back to the community. Um, I do still have some of the originals available, and they look like this. I've got them in little frames. So these are all traditional watercolors, and this one is a Jaguarundi, and he is native to South America. And here we have, of course, a Seattle favorite, mountain lion, cougar. Oh, where do we go? So they're just really fun. I got to get up close and personal with a bunch of wildcat pictures because I can't really see them in person. We do have a zoo here that I also support, and I do take a lot of my own photo references. But there are 36 different species of wildcats altogether in the world, and sadly, the Woodland Park Zoo does not have all of those.
Right.
So yeah, I just did a bunch of research and then also researched a bunch of local animal rescues that were having a rough time of things. I contacted them. I coordinated with a couple other artists to do giveaways, to do some Instagram auctions. There we go. That's the word for it. So people could bid on them and they knew exactly where the money was going to. So when the originals sell, I just donate all of the money to the charity that animal supports. So
So
it's been
you've raised a
fun.
lot of money for them.
Yeah, I've done, let's see, 27 portraits so far, and at between $100 and $150 per portrait. All of that money has been donated to local animal rescues.
That's a lot of
So
money.
it is.
It
Well, a
is.
few of them went to, like, the ACLU and the NAACP too, because this has been a rough year and civil rights also matter.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, when you I mean, I noticed you are getting back out there a little bit because
I
I
am.
you are you're doing the oddities and curiosity show. Now, is that a traveling show? Is that does that go like from different city to different city?
It does. The folks that run it are based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they actually do over 20 different events all over the US. I started out with their Portland show the October before all of the craziness went down, and I had such a blast. They're so easy to work with. The tables are very reasonably priced. They know how to get people in the door, and it's just an entire event of some really weird stuff. So now I do between 5 and 10 events with them every year. I think I'm signed up for 7 next year, and Seattle will be my final event with them this year. Uh, it's going to be super fun. This is actually their first year in Seattle. So if you like taxidermy and weird stuff in jars and furs and bones and horror kittens and
Have you seen a curiosities box before?
I yeah, like the little curio cabinets. I
Yeah,
actually have one. I
really.
put all my weird stuff in it.
Yeah,
I
a
actually
cabinet of
painted one
curiosity.
too.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
curiosity cabinet. That's a cool thing to have.
yeah, here's my little curio kitten that I painted not too long ago. She's a little bit creepy and she's got a little broken teacup, but she also has a lot of treasures. So yeah, I love curiosities. I love, I don't know, handmade things and supporting fellow artists. And that one's it's been really fun. It is challenging because normally, like I said, I do about 30 events a year before COVID, and normally they are spaced out a lot more reasonably. Uh, but all of the events that normally happen in the beginning of the year, this year, got shuffled to the end of the year. So prior to this weekend, I have spent the last 7 of 8 weekends at events. Normally, I'll do 2 or 3 a month. It's been 2 solid months of travel,
That's
which is a
good.
lot.
I mean,
I'm
that's good
not
though.
complaining.
No,
Little exhausted. My bank account is much happier than it was last year.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
and and my heart is a lot happier too. It's just some of these people I haven't seen in over 2 years, and just getting back into the community, getting to do some fun new shows that I haven't had the chance to do yet, seeing friends in cities that I haven't had a chance to visit for years and years. And it's a big part of why I travel too. Also to eat all of the food. My partner used to be a cook and a chef, and he is really amazing at all things food related. And when we travel, he gets to pick the restaurants, I get to pick the entertainment. So it's been pretty fun just going on a bunch of food adventures with him also. He has this superpower where he can eat a meal and then somehow decipher all of the things that went into it and how it was made. And then if it's cost effective, he can make it at home when we get home, which is pretty rad.
That is very cool. Now, he does all the cooking? I take it at home.
He does. Yeah, I get to be the kitchen bitch. So I will prep things, chop things, clean things. It works out well. Sometimes I'll take over. I do like making Italian food and Mexican food, and I do a lot of the pastry stuff, which is interesting. It's actually kind of how my folks did it while we were growing up. My dad also a fantastic cook, and my mom fantastic baker. So they kind of tag teamed on who did what in the kitchen, but it all got done and it was all delicious. So yeah, it's definitely kept costs down, especially during pandemic, not being able to go out to eat or support local restaurants much.
Now, can you do us one thing? Can you walk us through a day in your life when you're actually painting? What, like, like you're going to be painting tomorrow, so you
Mhm.
already know that. So exactly what happens from the minute that your alarm clock wakes up? Walk us through your day of work.
Well, my alarm clock is cat shaped. The cats usually start creeping in around 8:30 or 9 in the morning.
Wow,
And
I'm jealous. I'm
they don't
jealous.
really meow, they don't yell at me, but they know that food time is coming up, so I know the closer that they encroach, the hungrier they are. And when they're all clustered around our heads and curled up under my chin, I know it's
Mhm.
food time. Also, I can't breathe, so I have to get up.
Yeah,
So normally
no,
right.
the cheetah will come get me as early as 6:30, and his idea is sitting there by the
Oh,
door and just yelling at me until we're going. He'll just
oh man.
like, get up, get up, get up. And it's like, okay, so you get up and you feed your cat.
Oh no. The yelling, oh, I have friends whose cats yell at them too, and I'm really glad that mine don't. We would have to have some sort of words. But thankfully they just purr. They purr harder. Sometimes there's some making biscuits involved. But but no, so I get up, I'll feed the cats, I'll put on some tea, I'll get my giant stein of water. I usually go through like 3 or 4 of these a day because hydration.
Right.
And yeah, usually I'll figure out what I want to stream. Not live with me, obviously, awkward on camera. But we have a lot of streaming services here. We do Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and stuff. So usually I'll just put on a show that I've seen before because it's really fun for background noise. When I watch TV, a lot of the times I don't really pay attention to it that much. Um,
How do is it in a different room? I mean, can you
No,
op
same room, but
work with in
I'm
your
looking
room?
at my painting, so I'll glance up, maybe once every minute or so. So I'll hear everything. But I often won't catch a lot of things, which is why I love rewatching things. I just like going back and hanging out with my favorite characters. It kind of infuriates my partner, I think. 'Cause we'll be watching a thing that I know we've watched before, and I'm like, "Oh, I haven't seen this part of it." He's like, "We've seen this 5 times." I'm like, "Well, I don't think I have. I've heard it 5 times."
But I've never actually
Oh,
watched it. Yeah.
right, right. It's and he has the best memory, so he remembers everything. But he is very considerate and sweet, and we watch a lot of things over again because we just like them.
Yeah.
Um, but no, so I'll put something on in the background, and usually I will have a list of things that I need to accomplish that day. Again, with our lists and our calendars.
So
This time
sometimes
of
you find, is it hard for you to sometimes, let's say you're drawing, let's say you're drawing Winter Soldier Cat. Have
mhm.
do you ever just sometimes you feel like even though you need the inventory, right? Say Winter Soldier Cat sold out, your inventory sold out, so you get stuck, so you're actually stuck there drawing him again. do you ever get tired of drawing sometimes the same thing, even though you know what it's for?
I actually don't really draw the same thing, unless it's for a specific client. The nice thing about taking things out to conventions and having the original watercolors scannable is once I've painted it, I scan it, and then I can turn it into prints and cards and stickers and stuff, and I don't have to paint it again.
Oh, good.
Unless somebody wanted their cat as Winter Soldier, in which case they could totally pay me to paint that because that would be pretty rad.
Wow.
But
Okay. So you have like your masters, and then you just run out
mhm.
prints.
Yeah, I've actually, let's see. This is what one of my original paintings looks like. This is about the size. Um, so they're kind of fun. They end up being 6 by 8, and then I can cut my own mats and I frame them so they fit really nicely in 8 by 10 frames. I love things that are easily frameable. So if you went out
Beautiful.
to a gallery, this is the kind of thing that you would see. And most of my originals do sell through galleries, but I've got all of the scans so then I can turn them into things, which is really nice. But yeah, usually it will depend on what's going on that month. This time of year, I have a lot of pet portraits to work on, and everybody has a deadline. Everything needs to be shipped before the holidays.
Right. Right.
So
Oh,
usually I can. Sorry,
yeah.
go for it.
Those are like one of a kind paintings you're painting for the
Mhm,
holiday, right? So
exactly.
if I sent you a picture of my cat and I said,
Hmm.
"Please draw him," so that's just a one of a kind.
That's a
Wow,
one-off.
that's insane.
Yeah,
That's
those ones, I tend to charge a little bit more for them, because they're one of a kind. I don't reprint them, at least with my pet portraits. You get the high-res image so you can make prints if you want to, just for gifts and friends, not for resale. If I find people selling my work without my permission, then I get my lawyer involved because that's rude. Don't do that.
Do you ha I heard you mention earlier that one of your the reasons why you had a stress was because you mentioned art thieves. What does that mean? Does someone take take some of your work and copy it?
Exactly. I have multiple platforms that I sell through. I've got my own personal web shop. I sell on Etsy. I sell on TeePublic. If you want like mugs and T-shirts and stuff, things that I can't really keep in stock, you can find them there. And unfortunately, people will find those images that I upload, even if they're watermarked, and they will save them, or they found them on Google or something, because some folks don't understand that Google images aren't free for reproduction, and they will take them and they will upload them onto other things and they will reprint them and they will make profits from them without crediting the artist, without asking permission, without asking for a licensing contract. And unfortunately, internet art thievery is rampant. I am
Film,
far from the first artist who's
like film,
experienced it.
it's like film pirates. I mean, I know friends even in my own community here that I'll hear them talk about how they saw a movie off a pirate site,
Right,
and
right.
it's sort. I don't say anything to them about it, but I don't like piracy at all. I think it's
Mhm.
terrible. I think it's rude.
It's
Uh,
really frustrating because people
yeah,
spend time and energy and money creating these things, and for somebody to just take it and rip it off, a lot of times, like my little horror kittens, super popular this time of year, which is great. I love that. Unfortunately, some people take their heads and cut them off and then paste them onto other compositions. So I'll find them online, and it's like the heads of my horror cats mixed up with a bunch of other stolen art from other artists that I might or might not recognize. And then, thankfully, most websites have official channels where you can file DMCA takedown notices, which are official legal documents
right.
that tell these platforms, hey, this is my work, and you are supporting it illegally, so take it down, or my lawyer will contact you because that's what they do. And
No,
most
and they
platforms are
should.
easy to work.
I agree. They should. I mean, I just find that appalling that people do that. It's like, you know what? It's not yours,
Mhm.
especially when you're trying to make money off of it.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
right. You're right. Google Images aren't free.
Nope.
I mean, they're free if you're sitting there. You're free. I mean, I mean, as long as you're not making money off of it,
Exactly. They're
or
free to look at.
yeah,
Like,
you
it's a
can look at.
personal project.
Like
Yeah.
I use like today. I used your picture to promote this show.
Mhm.
I grabbed it and I have to use it, to promote, but I'm not making any money off this.
But
You
also
know,
it's a collaboration. I gave you permission for that because I'm here. And
um,
it's actually supporting both of us. So, yeah, that works out well. And oftentimes people are super sweet about it. I'll have people email me and they're like, "Hey, I really like this little cat picture. Can I use it for my icon on DeviantArt or something?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, for sure. As long as you're not selling prints, go for it."
Right.
Or like my character for D&D or something. It's like, "Okay, awesome. I love that."
Yeah, I think people, they really need to, if you want to support an artist, I mean,
Mhm.
by using a picture or whatnot to support your art. Because to me, I look at it this way: like my thumbnail is from a movie called A Dark Song.
Mhm.
Now I don't own it. I don't own it. I don't make any money off it or anything. But what I do with it is I tell, and this chat will tell you this. Believe me, I'm sure they're sick and tired of me talking about it because they hear from me so much. But
Yeah.
I champion that. I champion that. But
Mhm.
I do not make any money off of it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, art, it is true. I mean, you do see they turn it from art to kitsch,
Mhm.
to what do they call it? Uh, Tchotchkes or
Tchotchkes,
tchotchkes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, I
not
think the
right.
frustrating part for me, especially just aside from having my stuff stolen, um, is it's usually really low quality merchandise too. And everything that I create, like I've vetted those companies. I've done a lot of research and development to figure out what my art looks best on, what the best materials are for it. And if somebody buys a thing from me, I really want them to have a high quality thing. That's important to me. And if they're buying it online from China or, another overseas company, because unfortunately a lot of these overseas art thieves aren't in the US and it's really hard to prosecute across the sea. They're just not going to get a good quality thing unless if they get a quality thing at all. Some of these art thieves just take money and then disappear, and
Right.
then that gives the artist a bad name, which kind of sucks. Then people don't like the art, they'll associate it with that bad transaction, and
Um,
I don't know, it's
um,
frustrating.
it's Hi, Greg. How are you? Um, I just want to
Mhm.
comment about this because we're talking about this, and I know that someone here probably has something to mention about this too, because he's a small business owner. In fact, we actually interviewed him earlier,
Oh,
and
fantastic. Yeah.
that's my friend Rick from Rick Sangier from Underworld Sub Rosa. Now
Mhm.
he has a film distributed company, and so he's very much in the same boat with you. You're selling original arts. He's selling movies,
Yeah.
and he's making sure that the movie he sells, he would never carry a bootleg.
Mm-mm.
People came up to him and said, "Hey, I can get you this copy of this." He's into horror movies and whatnot. And they came up there and says,
Mhm.
"Hey, I want to go ahead and I got 30 bootlegs here. I can sell you for wholesale." He's gonna
Right.
go tell them basically to go fuck off. That's just
Mhm.
not his style. He's very conscientious about what he does with his company because it's his reputation. And I can definitely see that. Rick, I'm shouting you out, buddy. Oh, hi, Diana.
Good.
It's our guest from tomorrow just came in, and the lovely Arfleet Blind with Diana.
Oh,
And,
fantastic.
yeah, this is awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But when you were mentioning about that, I'm just thinking, yeah, that's interesting that he Rick commented about that. And
Mhm.
yes, Rick, that is a Christmas tree.
It is.
Or should I say, it's an all season tree.
It is my perpetual holiday tree. We are non-exclusive and inclusive of all holidays, and it just stays up year round. We just keep adding ornaments.
I love the fact I love the fact that you're able to do that. Uh,
It is a fake tree, so it never loses any, of its bits. I think we got it at Costco, for, how many years ago? I don't even know, 7 or 8 probably at this point.
So, I mean, now. I mean, so some days are made for business days, right? When you get in there and you make prints and whatnot.
Mhm.
And how long does it take you to get ready for a show? I mean,
Ooh.
what's your day? What's your show preparation like? Do you go like on a Monday? Do you go ahead and
It
make
kinda
prints
depends
up?
on the show. Most of them are on weekends, and I do know about them in advance, which definitely helps. Um, what I do for show prep is basically take all of the inventory from the previous show, count it down, put it back in all of its bins so I know how much I've got left over, and then order more inventory. That is step one in being prepared for any show. Have stuff to sell. And sometimes my production partners are able to meet my deadlines, sometimes they're not. In that case, I just don't have that thing for that show. Not the biggest deal. People can always find them online too, which works out well. But yeah, pretty much I have a Google Doc that has all of my inventory. I've got one for horror shows, one for comic shows, and one for cat shows. And I just decide in advance how many things I want to bring out to that show. I've done it for a few years now, so I can look at the previous shows and see how much I sold at those shows. So it definitely helps me decide how much to bring to the next show. Of course, every show is its own thing, and different people come every year, so sometimes you never really know. But it's definitely a good place to start. So I will make sure that I've got everything that I want based on my list. If I don't, then new inventory gets ordered. Sometimes I will have time to create new pieces for specific events. And that's actually been really fun. With Halloween coming up, I wish I'd had more time to do more things. I'm still in the process of working on my little Ink Kittens series. I love them so much. Normally, I would do like one every single day this month. These are the ones that I've still got left. But with all of the travel, it's just been a crazy month.
Is
So
that
I'm
is
a
that a,
little
is
bit
that a
behind.
wait? Is that a unicorn cat?
It is.
Oh
So
my,
basically,
it's a
there
unicorn cat.
there are prompt lists that go around on social media. It started out with Inktober, but that guy, the creator of it, decided to trademark it, which leads to some very complicated legal repercussions. And a lot of
He
folks,
trademarked Inktober.
unfortunately, it was a community, and a lot of artists helped him build up the community because thousands of people do it every year. It's been going on since, gosh, the early 2000s. And unfortunately, with a trademark, you do have to actually enforce it. Otherwise, you can lose the trademark. And I think what happened was he found companies that were making Inktober shirts and Inktober merchandise using his logo, um, just without his permission and making money from it. So I get him wanting to protect that. But he didn't run it by the community and didn't let anybody know it was happening. And Inktober has always been marketed as a community and a hashtag that is inclusive, and people are welcomed and encouraged to use it in our own work and then print things, make books, that kind of stuff. And folks that had any kind of printed material with Inktober on it got cease and desist orders,
Wow.
totally out of the blue. And then instead of apologizing and connecting with these artists individually and trying to fix it, the creator of the original hashtag kind of doubled down and hid behind lawyers, and it kind of soured the community a little bit. So for me and a lot of other artists, we just created our own hashtags. Mine is Ink Kittens because 31 kittens in 31 days. I love it. It makes me smile. Let's see, I've got another. This is an example.
I have a
Let
question
me do
here.
it,
I
So
have a
this is,
question.
yeah, I may have an answer.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
That was from last year. I turned them all into a big print at the end.
I love that unicorn cat. I
It does
do I
make me
do
smile.
I do believe that Duke the unicorn is Meta's match. Wow, that is so cool.
Thank
Okay, I'll let
you.
you answer. Dragon's question.
Okay. The kitten art, is that with a ballpoint pen or a specialty type of pen? I use specifically micron pens. I love them. They come in a bunch of different sizes. They are archival, so they won't fade or change color with time. And yeah, super easy to use. I think I don't know if I have any handy, but they're really easy to find online. And I'm usually able to go through an entire series of 31 kittens with one pen for the whole month. So they last a really long time.
Now, are you honest about that? Do you really do it one per day, or do you like okay, I know it's coming up, so let me do like let me crank out 3 cats a month until October, and then I
Uh,
can or do you literally get up in the morning and make a do a cat? And how long does it usually take you to finish one of your 31 days of cat like kitten?
Normally, I will do them once a day, but that's in normal years where I'm actually in town for October. This one I wasn't. I was out of town the 1st through the 17th. So I tried to do some in my travels. I'm slowly catching up. They normally take about an hour a piece to finish.
Oh,
So these days I usually draw a lot of them out in pencil beforehand, but I'll do the actual inking the day of. And I
Oh,
have
it takes
all of
an
them on
hour to
full
do
screen.
that?
Mhm.
Man, man, that makes me look like a stone cold piker because I'm supposed to be doing a 31 days of Halloween movie reviews, and I'm
Mhm.
hopelessly behind. And
Yeah.
that takes maybe like 20, like it takes me like 15 minutes to do something on a video to upload, and I
Mhm.
can do that, and you crank out pieces of art in an hour. And
Well,
I'm
you've
in,
gotta watch the film too, you know?
yeah,
That takes a couple hours. Mm.
yeah, that's amazing. That's
Thank
amazing.
you. Takes a lot of practice, honestly. When
Now,
I
what do
first
you do
started.
now? Are you making prints of your now? Do you make prints for your now is that 31 Days of Kittens? Is that specifically designed for your animal rescue?
No, these guys are just for funsies. So like I said, at the end of the month, they'll turn into a big print like this. So this includes all 31 kittens that I did last year. I'll
Okay.
also turn them into sticker sheets and folded note cards. And for those, I let my patrons on Patreon and then folks on social media decide on their favorites. So I give every kitten a number based on the day of the month that it was intended to be created on, whether or not it was actually finished that day. This year is going to be a little weirder, but I believe in myself. I'm doing like 3 or 4 a day right now, so I'm catching up. And yeah, everybody gets to vote on their favorites. And then the dozen or so that have the most votes, those get turned into stickers and the folded note cards. And other than that, people can buy the originals or everybody in the big print. So
What
it's been a really fun project.
what about refrigerator magnets?
Ooh, I love those. I have some of them right here. This is one of my favorite sets. If you guys have seen the movie How to Train Your Dragon, um, I have kittens because sometimes you can train kittens, sometimes not so much. And my little diesel cat has a tiny little broken tail, so she fit really well with these. I figure out at events and stuff, as much as I love prints, not everybody has wall space. Not everybody has the money for a $15 or $25 print. So I love tiny useful things. And here's my little set of, uh, I call them my night meow before Histmas kittens. So you can find almost all of my prints and styles also as fun little magnets. We've also got enamel pins because why not
Oh,
wear a kitten? Anything with a skeleton totally glows in the dark
oh
because
my
I
God!
love
Look
glow
at
in the
that.
dark things.
Those are enamel pins. Oh my God!
Enamel pins. And then, of course, my little cat Thulu and my plague doctor because it's been that kind of a year.
Oh my God! That's just. I'm
And
in.
then
I
you can
mean,
see the
I
little
know, I know,
nibbles
I'm
too.
speaking on behalf of this chat, but I'm in awe. This is you. It's like I gotta have more of you guys on here. I mean, you and Angela just blow me away. Look at that.
Oh, it's been really fun, honestly. I get so much inspiration when I go to events because it's like I make the things and I talk to a lot of other artists who make things and then they're like, and then what? There are so many things that you can make art into that people will love. And my goal at every event is not just to have a good time and make some money because it does pay my bills, but I love connecting with people. And I feel like people can't always afford the big things, but if you have a really good conversation with somebody, and even if you just give them something as small as a postcard to take home with them, they can remember that conversation. They can remember, like, oh, we talked about cats. That was super fun. And it's like a couple dollars, and they can support a local artist. And it's like I leave them with a tangible reminder of the fun time that they had. Plus, it's covered in kittens, so it's hard to complain.
Yeah, you can't. That's a win-win.
It
Um.
is.
So, so that's amazing. I'm sorry about the. Really sorry to hear about what happened to Inktober. I did not know that. That
Yeah.
sucks. I mean, sort of a cowardly way to go ahead and I don't know. I mean, to
It
me, it's like,
was,
why
yeah,
not
it was
everybody? Well, you
frustrating.
wouldn't be where you're at with all of us helping you. So,
Exactly.
I can understand if you wanted to do it to protect it and then
Mhm.
get a little bit of money off of it. That's fine. As for yourself, you can make a little money, but to sit there and punish people who are
Yeah.
using the hashtag that we all came up with and supported, I just find that chicken shit.
It
And
was really frustrating. It's like I don't know the creator personally. I don't know his intentions, but the way he went about it was very damaging to the art community, and he lost a lot of trust. But I mean, what's come out of it is now so many people have so many different fun lists. I think I've got about a dozen this year that I'm working from. So it really encouraged people to kind of branch out and do their own thing. But we still have that community that just is focused on creating a thing every day in October. And honestly, almost every month has something like that. There are art challenges. You can find them all over the internet. There's Smogist for August, and let's see, I don't know, there's one in June that I usually do. There's a Mermay for May. So it's just a bunch of people creating things, and that's kind of the point of the art world. Like we
Now, do
support
you
each
ever
other through
collaborate with anybody on it? Like, have you ever collaborated with anybody on a series or like a painting? I mean, have you ever teamed up with somebody to do something cool like that? I mean, you combine your cats with maybe they do unicorns. Do you ever
Mhm.
collaborate, or is that just way too sticky to do?
Honestly, it depends on the person. I would love to. It is mostly a challenge of schedules. So what I normally end up doing are just commissions. When somebody sends me an idea and it's up my alley, then I will paint their idea. So it's kind of a collaboration, but it's really mostly my work. I used to do a lot of live art events. In Seattle, COCA, the Center on Contemporary Art, actually has an event which they weren't able to do live this year, but over the last few years, they put 24 artists in a room and give us 24 hours. They feed us, which is awesome, and we make whatever. We can collaborate with each other. We make our own things. And at the end of it, we have to have at least 3 complete pieces. Those pieces are auctioned off live the following night. Half the proceeds go back to the artist, half supports COCA so that they can continue doing awesome art things for the Seattle art community. So in those situations, I love collaborating with artists because we're all right there. Kind of takes me back to college where I was just having fun in the art studio with friends. In the real world, schedules are kind of complicated. I wish I got to collaborate more, and I look forward to doing more of it probably post pandemic. So we'll see. Oh, your kitty.
Good to
Hi,
see them.
Paladin. Oh, he's such a cutie.
Yeah, he's the ham.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now I'm wondering if I can find any of my cats. I know you met Ghost earlier pre-show. Give me just
Right,
a minute.
right. We might have to have you draw the cheetah.
That would be pretty cool.
Then you can sit there and you work with a wildcat.
Yeah. Well, here's my little ghost. She loves giving kisses. Hi, sweet
Now,
thing.
Ghost is 12 years old.
Ghost is only 4.
Oh,
Diesel, my little black one, is probably hiding downstairs right now. She's a little camera shy when it's video. Of course, she is such a ham in front of a still camera.
oh, right.
That's how I got into painting her in the first place. Every cat I've had just runs from the camera, or they're a blur, or they're a blob of sleeping. But she knows her light. She's the perfect little model. First cat I've ever had who sits still for photos.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's amazing you get them to sit because they just don't do that. I know dogs will, but cats they're always on the move. I get pictures. Sometimes I get pictures of Paladin when he's sleeping or he's soloring. But if I want to sit there and pose him for something, that ain't gonna happen.
Mm-mm. No, it's
No.
very rare. And I kind of lucked out with her. I actually hadn't thought about it because I started out painting a lot of other animals and I was just doing pet portraits. But I was working with Gail from Gargoyles and she was having a dark art animal themed show. She's like, it's blackbirds and bats and cats. Wait, don't you have a little black cat? Have you ever thought of painting her? So
Ah,
I painted these. This was my very first series of little black kittens that I ever painted. They are my little dapper cats in steampunk fashion because I love everything steampunk. And then I realized I just have thousands of pictures of my cat, so she's going to pay my rent now. Then we adopted the kittens, and we've been bribing them with treats, and she's kind of training them for me. So they do occasionally make cameos.
uh,
Um,
Jennifer thinks I'm a ham. I'm a
mhm.
little bit of a ham. Uh, Mr. Bone says she's big, or is that all fur?
uh,
My question is, when you do the dog paintings, how
mhm.
hard is it for you to draw the fleas on them?
The photos that I get to work from are usually not that high res. I
Oh,
would be very impressed. Some
I
of them do get
I
into sticky situations, though. I've
I
run
I
into a
know
lot
the
of
dog. I
people
know the all the dog owners were going to ask that question, so I just thought I asked them for 'em on their
thank you
behalf.
for
Yeah.
preemptively being proactive, yes.
Um, so tell us a little bit about your schedule. You got a busy schedule coming up.
I do.
Um, yeah, you got you got a show this coming weekend, a Halloween weekend.
Mhm. Yeah,
And what
like
else?
I said, since everything rescheduled to the end of the year, events are coming fast and furious, so not complaining. I'm looking forward to it. It's kinda nice to see folks again. This weekend is the Oddities and Curiosities Expo in Seattle. It's our first year here. It's gonna be down at the convention center, and it is Saturday only, one-day show, day before Halloween. It should go till I think it's 10 AM to 6 PM. That sounds about right. And I'll have a big corner booth. I'll have a bunch of kitties with me. I'll also have my birds and bunnies out there. Should be super fun. Let's see. After that, my events for conventions, I'll be at the Geekcraft Expo on Black Friday weekend. That's up at Magnuson Park. That's also a show that does a lot of events nationwide. They're based out in Hawaii, and they're super easy to work with. They're the ones that give us the green room and back with snacks and stuff. Love working with those guys. And then after that is Seattle's Comic Con. That's Emerald City Comic Con coming up the first weekend of December. Normally it's in May, or sorry about that, March or April. But of course we had to shuffle to the end of the year. And that's run by Reed Pop. They know all of the comic people. They're super professional, very easy to work with. It's a massive show. They normally get about 100,000 people through the door. Probably be about half that with pandemic rates. I just did New York Comic Con a couple weekends ago that they also run, and attendance was down by about half for that one, but still an awesome show. And then the weekend after that in Chicago is C2E2, Reed Pop Chicago Comic Con. So December is going to be a little busy. I've never been to December or Chicago in December before, so might be super snowy. I am looking forward to deep dish pizza and also seeing some really good friends who I haven't seen in about 3 years.
Right.
So, yeah. And then, of course, gallery wise, I will be doing the kitty party with Rosalie down at Monster and my friend Stasia. So we'll have some brand new kitten paintings. That is opening next month. I want to say the 13th, whatever that second Saturday is. Ballard does their art walk then. And then I'll also have at least a couple pieces in the Gargoyles Dark Winter's Night show opening in mid December. So, yeah, that one's also a fun time.
I'm going to ask this question because I'm really dying to hear your answer. Um, why is art so subjective?
Honestly, because people are. We all have different experiences. We all have different aesthetics. Everybody likes something a little bit different. I
It
think
just seems
that
like it's the most. It really does. It seems like it's the most subjective. We all
Mhm.
subjective. When it comes down to art, I can't think of any other. I can't think of any other creative thing that is more, so subjective or divisive than
I don't
art.
know. I mean, art definitely, but I would say I would open it up to all creative pursuits. People are very picky when it comes to food, music, TV and movies. I'd say you get a lot of gatekeepers where it's like, the folks that are very, very staunchly in favor of this or against that. And if you don't believe what they believe, it's like you can't talk to them. And I just think it's cool that people make stuff, and I love supporting fellow artists, like, even if it's not my style or my aesthetic. I love that people make stuff. It makes me happy, and I support anybody who wants to go out and create a thing, as long as it's your own thing. Don't steal other people's things because
Yeah.
that's rude.
I've been to several museums, and me and my
Mhm,
wife, we used to go down to the DIA at least once a year, if not more, if there was a special show, and then we go down there.
mhm,
Like I'll be honest with you, Braden, it was just like I love the classics. I love the
mhm.
Renaissance and but then I go to see a cubist or a modern art, and I'd be sitting there shaking my head and going like,
I totally get
I just
that.
don't. Andy
Honestly,
Warhol,
like,
like
I'm
he
more
just
drawn to
nailed
representational works too. I think there's something that people can relate to there. It's like it's a recognizable thing, and you can see the skill that went into it. It's like you look at a thing, especially if I can't tell how it's made, I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. But a lot of the stuff that you'll see in museums and even some of the stuff in galleries, like even if it's not my thing, even if I look at it subjectively and be like, I could have probably made that in a couple hours, I didn't make it. I'm not the one who made it. At the time, like a lot of the museum works, they were doing something that no one else was doing at the time. So it was like pushing against boundaries, or reacting against a previous very restrictive art period. So I get and I respect that, even if I'm not a fan of the actual piece or that artist. And
I don't.
honestly, the modern art world, I'm kind of with you. It's like some galleries I love and I respect. Some it's obviously just a name brand, and some,
Modern art, it really just, you're right. It really, it's really what it's a modern art, because I just don't see how, just because this person says, because again, it's subjective, but I
mhm,
also think there's also ulterior motive that drives it, is when if someone came over and you posted your cat picture up there, and
mhm,
someone walked up there and says, you drew a cat.
mhm.
Why is that here? To me, it's just like, I don't know. Let's go to the museum and look at some of this the cubist, it's like, let's
Right,
go
right.
talk about that, because that is totally lost on me. And
That's
I
a
think it
shame.
really sucks that there's, a lot of these curators, they're driven by, I don't know what they're driven by. Are they driven
Mhm,
by, truly presenting the best? Are they driven by money? Are they driven by what patrons want? Yes, you are a curator, you are picking up the show, but the person
mhm,
is picking up the check. So and to me, it's just like, just because one or two people say that's not art,
mhm,
all of a sudden that person who works so hard, has that much talent, and their art, it is art, it's beautiful,
mhm,
it's no longer considered, it's not really being looked at as, like real art, so to speak. But someone
mhm.
else sit there, grab something else, and sit there and say, now this artist is going to be really big. And next thing you know, on the cover art of Modern Art magazine, there's that person, off of one or two people, because they
Mhm.
have a little bit of money. All of a sudden, now that they position this artist, who's maybe not so much of an artist, a good artist, but also now we're being told that he is that.
Right. Well, like Artfully Blind with Diana saying, the duct tape banana. That's a great example.
Yeah,
In and of itself, no, I probably wouldn't consider it art. But
no.
in context and what it was reacting against, it made a statement and people reacted. And sometimes that is your creative art piece. Like you get a reaction from the community.
Well,
And
hell, you can get a reaction. You can get a reaction by going down the street and walking in front of a car,
mhm,
and they beat their horn at you. It has to be more to it than that. It
yeah.
has to be more than a reaction. There actually has to be substance there, in order to
Mhm,
generate a real reaction. A just a flash. It's not enough for me. It's like, wow,
mhm.
look at that. That's art. No, no, it's not art. You can go inside there, grab your banana from there, and duct tape it. You've done the same thing. Are you
Right,
now an artist? I mean, is that what you're saying? Because I could do that. I can tell you right now, I'm no artist.
right.
Not at all. Not like that. It's really yeah, yeah. That's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you that question, and I'll be asking that question tomorrow night with to Diane.
Mhm. I
Um,
think it's an important question for any creative professional, even non-professional. I mean, if you like making stuff and you want the public to see it, think about it. It's like who came before you? What's going to come after? What is the purpose of this piece? And honestly, a lot of mine, I love making things. I love making people smile, especially in this day and age when things are a little up in the air and the world is burning. Um, it's nice to be able to look at a thing, and just have a little bit of hope. Um, and for me, it's like I get to hang out with my cats and my gym jams and paint things and play with media, get a little bit dirty. Uh, I love traditional media. It's something I've got to clean up after, and even though watercolors are pretty easy, it's just that tangible being able to hold a finished piece in your hands really appeals to me.
I know we're running out of time here, so
Mhm.
if folks in here want to ask some questions, please start sending them
Oh, yeah.
our way. Um, what do you what do you like to experiment with? What's some of the things you experiment with?
Well, with watercolors in particular, salt. There are so many different kinds of salt, and if you drop them into wet watercolor, if you drop them onto dry watercolor and then put water on top of it, they make crazy cool patterns. Um, and it's really fun just to watch what they do. It's also entirely unpredictable, which is one of the reasons I love watercolors and hate watercolors. I am a perfectionist by nature, which is why I love photorealistic drawing, because graphite, I can erase, I can draw over it, I can erase and draw over it again. Oil, I can wait for it to dry and paint over it, or I can wipe it away and paint over it again. Watercolor, you can only put so much water on the paper and then it's done. So it's a good practice for me to step away from a thing, to finish a thing, and move on to the next thing. Um, so I think just the entire media of watercolor has been super experimental. Pen and ink has also been very uncomfortable for me. I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years now, and again, you can't erase it. So having something permanent that you've got to walk away from, I know it's probably not a big deal to most artists, but for someone like me, it was a really big step. So, yeah, yeah, just kind of that. I'd like to experiment with mixed media stuff at some point too, making actual gears that work and lights that turn on and put them into oil paintings. So, like 5 to 10 years, stay tuned for some of that.
Mr. Bones wants to know, have you considered ever doing a YouTube channel?
I
And
have, but
you wouldn't have to show your you wouldn't have to show your face necessarily, but you could show some of your work, how you create it,
mhm.
the process.
I
I'm not sure.
love process videos. I love seeing other artists process videos. We just moved into this place last year, and I haven't even unpacked my books yet. It's been a weird year of travel and kind of being present for family through some interesting times. And I would love to have a space in my studio where I could have the proper lighting and a nice video setup, even if it's just my phone. Um, I'm working on it, and it'll probably premiere on my Patreon. I'm hoping before the end of the year, because I'll be doing a lot of pet portraits next month, and I like to record my process. Usually I just do still photos, but having some sort of video would be really awesome. I'd love to show people my process. I'm ambidextrous, so I paint with both hands. So if you see me painting live, it's really fun, and people usually don't think about it. Um, but it would be kind of fun on video too if I could find a way to capture that. Um, I'm not good with the post production end of things, so I might have to have a friend help me on that end. I do have a couple that are much better with technology than I am. So stay tuned. Hopefully before the holidays, if not, maybe a little bit after New Year's. I'm hoping to have some process videos made. Probably won't be on YouTube, but they will start out on my Patreon. Probably pop up on Instagram and Facebook, and then if I get some traction, maybe YouTube. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists that actually do that. Diana
Mhm.
is one artist. I've watched her work on camera on YouTube, and sensational, sensational.
I know Angela does a bunch of that too, and I really enjoy her Twitch stream, and she's got a YouTube channel too. So I love supporting fellow artists who do it. I just
Oh, Angela, and
Mhm.
yeah, and then who else do I know has a artist that does work? We had a mask maker on before, Gene Shaver.
Ooh,
He does he does video live streams where he's making masks and whatnot.
that is
Uh,
so cool.
yeah, he was a great guest.
Mhm. I
I
know
have a
another friend, Kayla, she runs Something Pretty. She does Twitch and I think YouTube also. She's actually the one who gave me my kittens, Ghost and Earl Grey. So she's a fellow artist and crazy cat person.
okay. It's always good. It's always good to have crazy cat people.
Absolutely. It's like we're a
Um,
community or something.
yeah, Diana says she has 700 videos on her channel.
Oh
And,
my
and-
gosh, that's
yeah,
amazing.
yes,
Cheers to you.
she's powerful. I'm not kidding you. She's powerful.
Mm.
I'm in awe of her. I'm
Oh,
in awe of all you guys. I'm so excited for this to happen. This is my first artist week. All artists, so I'm
mhm.
totally tickled.
I'm
I just
excited for you too. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's really fun to chat with you.
Oh, thank you so much. By all means, tell your friends. Tell your friends about your. I'll post this up to your page, so you can share it out with your fans and family and whatnot. And then yeah, it's just been a real honor. I love watching people like you explain their processes. I never get tired of it. I'm so curious. I guess I would fit in a I would fit in a cabinet.
In the curio cabinet. I love it.
Yeah.
Just like that the bat on the wall.
Listen, I know I'm gonna let you go because I know you've been real busy and you still got to get ready for your show this weekend. And I know that that is, ooh, like I said, I mean, everybody wants to help out, which is really great. But you know that
Yeah,
breakdown. I think
yeah.
you'll have a sensational show this Saturday.
Thank
I think
you.
a lot of people are going to come out for that.
It'll be
People
fun. I've
want
got
to
all my
come out.
inventory set, and I've got all my display supplies set aside, so all I've gotta do is get there and set up. I think we'll be good.
I will be posting all of Braden's information in the description box. So if you feel like you want to go ahead and buy something from Braden or contact her about drawing your pet, by all means. I'll also put down her Instagram too, so you can send her what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? Email, right?
Email's great. Yeah, Facebook or on Etsy. I don't check Instagram private messages very often, so email's probably better.
Okay.
But I've got my
I'll
email listed in my bio there, so it's should be
okay.
nice and easy. Or my
Yep.
website,
Right.
I've got a contact page there.
Okay. So, it's your Etsy page. Is everything included on your one main site, Clockwork Art?
Um, yeah, yeah, you can find my entire portfolio on clockworkart.com. That's my main website. I've got a shop page there. On Etsy, you will find all of my non-fan art. I've got some of my horror art over there, but again, with IP restrictions and stuff, everything's had to be very carefully vetted through Etsy. And even with my work that is legally protected by parody, Etsy doesn't really make distinctions between false and real IP infringement reports. So if you get enough of them, they'll just shut you down. So I made the difficult decision earlier this year just to pull all of the fan art from Etsy. It's now all on my personal website, which is great. I appreciate and respect Etsy. I love being part of that community. So it's important to me to still be there, and that's where you can find all my weird stuff. I really like it.
Now, if we go to Etsy.com, what do we do?
Mhm.
Type Clockwork Art.
Yeah, just etsy.com slash shop slash clockwork art shop. I think that's what I'm at over there. But you can also find that link on my website. Um, I've got a bunch of little gears across the bottom of my main image there, and you can just click on every single one. It'll take you to Etsy and Patreon and Facebook and Instagram and Twitch and or not Twitch, sorry, Twitter. Don't
Okay,
have a Twitch yet, but we'll see.
we'll see. I'm thank you again so much, and thank you for everybody in the chat. As you already have noticed, our tomorrow's guest has already come by. Actually, both of them came by earlier.
Yay.
Dizzy and Rico will be here on Thursday, and tomorrow night I get to talk to Artfully Artfully Blind with Diana.
I'm excited for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can want to come on and say hi, you're more than welcome to. If you have if you have a YouTube page, I mean, you could create one and just come in and just say hi, and then go out afterwards. I do think you can watch it from the outside without
Yeah.
necessarily having a YouTube account. So if you want to do that, I will email you the link to. We got my page, so if you want to come by and listen to Diana's, that'd be awesome as well. It'll be 8 o'clock. It'll be 8 o'clock again.
Okay.
Thank you again to my good man, Mr. Bones, for providing the support with all the websites, all the links.
Thank you
Uh,
so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you to the audience, and we will talk to you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for with Diana. And then thanks so much. Uh,
Definitely.
Stay right where you're at, Braden, and we'll talk in a second.
Sounds good. Thank you guys. You're all fabulous.